There is a moment in some lives when comfort feels unbearable. Not because life is tragic, not because there is immediate danger, but because something inside feels underused, unfocused, unproven. A quiet restlessness begins to grow. A sense that ordinary life is too small, too repetitive, too disconnected from meaning. And in that restlessness, a powerful idea appears. What if I need something bigger than myself? For many, that question becomes the doorway to the military. The psychology of why people join the army is often simplified into stereotypes. Some say it's about patriotism, others say it's about money, benefits, or lack of options. Some assume it's about aggression or thrill-seeking. But those explanations barely scratch the surface. Because beneath the surface, the decision to enlist is rarely random. It is deeply psychological at its core. Joining the army is often about purpose. Purpose is not a luxury, it is a psychological necessity. Human beings are wired to seek meaning. When meaning is absent, anxiety grows. Depression increases, motivation collapses. Life feels fragmented, and modern life, despite its conveniences, often feels fragmented. You wake up, you work, you scroll, you repeat. Structure exists, but significance feels diluted. For some individuals, this quiet emptiness becomes intolerable. They don't want comfort, they want clarity. The military offers something psychologically powerful, a clear mission. In the army, you are not drifting, you are assigned, you are trained. You are directed toward objectives that are defined, measurable, and larger than individual preference. This removes ambiguity, and ambiguity is mentally exhausting. Another crucial psychological factor is identity formation. Many people join the army during transitional phases, late adolescence or early adulthood, when identity is still forming. This stage of life is marked by uncertainty. Who am I? What do I stand for? What kind of person will I become? The military provides a strong, immediate identity, uniform, rank, role, belonging. Instead of wandering through self-discovery, you step into a structured self. For individuals who feel lost, this can be stabilizing. Another layer is belonging. Humans evolved in tribes. Belonging once meant survival. Even today, isolation activates the same neural circuits as physical pain. Modern society is paradoxically hyperconnected yet emotionally disconnected. Many young people report feeling unseen, unsupported, or socially fragmented. The army offers brotherhood, sisterhood, unit cohesion. Shared struggle bonds people faster than shared comfort. When you endure difficulty together, identity fuses, and fusion feels powerful. Another psychological dimension is discipline seeking. Some individuals recognize something about themselves. They lack structure. They lack routine, they lack external accountability. And they know they cannot build discipline alone. The military provides externally imposed discipline, wake-up times, physical standards, rules, consequences. Structure becomes scaffolding, and scaffolding builds resilience. Another deep factor is the desire for challenge. Modern life is physically easy. Food is abundant, comfort is accessible, risk is minimized. But psychologically, humans are built for challenge. We evolved through hardship. Our nervous systems are calibrated for adversity. When life lacks challenge, some people feel restless, even depressed. The military promises difficulty, physical exhaustion, mental strain, high standards. And difficulty provides feedback. When you survive difficulty, you feel capable. Capability builds self-esteem. Another powerful psychological motivator is the desire to test oneself. Am I strong enough? Am I brave enough? Can I endure? These questions live quietly inside many individuals. Civilian life does not always provide clear answers. The military does. It offers trials, assessments, hierarchies based on performance. You discover your limits, and sometimes you exceed them. That experience is transformative. Another layer is the pursuit of significance. Being part of something historically consequential carries psychological weight. Military institutions are steeped in symbolism: flags, ceremonies, rituals, history. These symbols create continuity across generations. You are not just an individual, you are part of a lineage. That feeling counters existential anxiety. Another dimension is economic reality. For some, joining the army is practical, education benefits, job security, stability, but even practical motivations often mask deeper psychological needs. Financial stability reduces stress. Reduced stress allows focus. Focus allows growth, but even then, the structure and belonging remain powerful components. Another psychological element is escape. Some individuals join the army to escape environments that feel stagnant, chaotic, or limiting. Difficult home lives, small towns, lack of opportunity. Negative peer influence. The military represents a reset, a new identity, and new geography. A new trajectory. Escape is not always avoidance. Sometimes it is redirection. Another crucial factor is masculinity and identity development, particularly for men. In many cultures, traditional rites of passage have weakened. There are fewer socially recognized transitions from boyhood to manhood. The military functions psychologically as a rite of passage: hardship, hierarchy, responsibility. You leave one version of yourself behind. You return changed. That transformation satisfies a deep archetypal need for proving and becoming. But it is not limited to men. For women, the military can represent empowerment in a different way. Strength in traditionally male-dominated spaces. Breaking expectation, claiming capability. Identity solidifies through contrast. Another psychological driver is moral clarity. In a world full of ambiguity, the military often frames reality in clear terms: mission, enemy, ally, objective. This clarity reduces cognitive dissonance. When life feels morally complex and confusing, simplicity can be comforting. But this clarity is not simplistic in practice, it is structured. Structure reduces anxiety. Another layer is trauma background. Research shows that individuals with chaotic or unstable childhoods sometimes gravitate toward high-structure environments later. Predictability feels safe, clear rules feel secure. In contrast to emotional unpredictability, institutional predictability feels stabilizing. Another factor is altruism. Many genuinely join out of a desire to serve, to protect, to contribute. Altruism activates reward centers in the brain. Helping others creates meaning. Meaning buffers against despair. Another psychological dimension is risk normalization. Some individuals have higher sensation-seeking traits. They crave intensity, novelty, adrenaline. The military provides environments that satisfy these traits constructively. Intensity becomes purposeful rather than reckless. Another hidden layer is delayed self-doubt. Some join because they want to silence inner criticism. If I can do this, I can do anything. The military becomes a proving ground not just to society, but to oneself. And here lies the paradox. The army is both constraining and liberating. It constrains autonomy, it liberates identity. It demands obedience, it provides direction. It limits individuality, it strengthens cohesion. Psychologically, this tension attracts certain personalities deeply. But it is important to acknowledge complexity. Joining the army does not guarantee purpose. Purpose is experienced differently by each individual. For some, it becomes life-defining. For others, it becomes disillusioning. Because purpose is not only about structure, it is about alignment. If personal values align with the institution, meaning intensifies. If they diverge, internal conflict arises. This explains why some veterans describe profound fulfillment, while others struggle with identity reconstruction after service. Another psychological truth: purpose is most powerful when it requires sacrifice. Sacrifice signals importance. If something costs you comfort, time, or safety, Your brain interprets it as valuable. The military requires sacrifice. And sacrifice creates weight, but there is also risk. When identity fuses too strongly with role, leaving that role can feel like death. Many veterans experience identity disorientation after discharge. Who am I without the uniform, without the mission, without the unit? This reveals how deeply the psychological architecture was built. Which brings us back to the central theme: people join the army not just for what it offers externally, but for what it promises internally: clarity, belonging, structure, purpose, challenge, transformation. In a fragmented world, that combination is powerful. The deeper truth is this: human beings crave meaning more than comfort. And when meaning feels absent, they will seek environments that demand something of them. The army demands everything: time, energy, obedience, risk, and in exchange, it offers identity. For some, that exchange feels worth it. For others, it becomes a chapter rather than a destination. But psychologically, the drive is understandable. When life feels small, people seek something larger. When identity feels uncertain, people seek structure. When purpose feels distant, people seek mission. The decision to join the army is rarely impulsive. It is often the result of a quiet, persistent question: what am I here for? And sometimes the uniform feels like an answer.